China has established its dominance across many industries, and now it is driving the U.S. military from space. The U.S. has proposed an initiative to stop anti-satellite missile practice in space, thinking it will make the U.S. look like a peace lover, but the reality is quite the opposite. The U.S. wants to constrain China and maintain dominance in space. So China, knowing the U.S. intentions, stood firm against the proposal. If safeguarding the space bodies is not the U.S.'s main motivation for the plan, then what is it? China proposed new regulations that require the nations not to do any harm to space bodies, but the U.S. is not willing to agree to this. Let's investigate. Welcome back to another exciting episode of our channel, Inventive Solution. If you are new to the channel and enjoy learning about fast-paced modernity, especially China's development and growing power, you will find our videos interesting. In this video, we will discuss why the U.S. has proposed a peculiar initiative. We will also discuss why the EUA is hesitant to support the U.S. proposal. Began with a recent development that has attracted a lot of attention. China has publicly voiced its vehement objection to a proposal made by the United States to forbid the testing of anti-satellite missiles in space. The proposal characterizes it as a covert effort at pretending to control weaponry while concealing goals of actual military expansion. Through a working paper submitted to the European Union, has also entered the fray and declared its intention to support the U.S. proposal. This endorsement is significant because it carries the weight of 27 member nations, including NATO allies, effectively increasing the number of supporting countries. Rise to 35 amidst these developments, a crucial moment is approaching with a scheduled working group meeting in Geneva. This meeting's goal is to address the burgeoning challenges in space and discuss strategies for ensuring safety in on-orbit activities. Notably, this meeting comes after the EU resolute statement, further advancing the discussions on this urgent issue, but the US and EU are presenting to stop anti-missile weapons as their main justification. Russia joins China in opposing the US proposal in a firm manner. It is important to note that all four key players, including China and the US, oppose the idea. This united front against the proposal comes from a common perspective that the proposal falls short of addressing the fundamental concerns connected to outer space security. Russia and India have tested the same weapons that the U.S. proposal aims to outlaw Wang Wenbin. The spokesperson for the Chinese Foreign Ministry skillfully highlighted China's concerns about the proposal and pointed out that the U.S. commitment falls short of the requirements for limiting its military capabilities in outer space. He also stressed how this commitment may allow the U.S. to pursue unilateral military superiority and pursue real military expansion under the guise of arms control. China has highlighted the deteriorating security situation, attributing it to US efforts to impose our will and the development of a space-centered military alliance. Wang went on to elaborate on this viewpoint, pointing out how the U.S. has aggressively pursued the militarization of space and labeled it a new frontier of combat, resulting in conflicts between major powers. Vice President Kamala Harris's announcement that the USA intended to stop such tests and introduce a resolution to the unexemplifying a bold approach to mitigating the potential risks of their dominance served as the catalyst for the Biden administration's effort to usher in a new era of space governance. During previous engagements at the General Assembly, a non-binding suspension on destructive anti-satellite missiles proposed by the U.S. was approved. This resolution had strong support from China. Russia and a number of other countries opposed or opted out, underscoring the difficulties associated with this crucial topic and the seriousness of the situation. The White House cited China's and Russia's anti-satellite tests, describing them as serious risks to the sustainability and security of space, but China and Russia are more of a threat to US military space domination than they are to peace. China has argued that the proposed US commitment falls short of adequately addressing the real security issues that exist in space. In this vein, China supports a comprehensive solution that includes a binding ban on the deployment of weapons in space and the condemnation of the use of force against space entities. The question is why the U.S. and AWAR, supporting or making efforts to not stop anti-satellite missiles in space, and China and Russia oppose it, whose reason is valid and who is trying to be manipulative. Before we continue further, tell us, are you? Wang, China's diplomatic spokesperson, made an earnest appeal to nations to transcend Cold War mentalities and redirect their energies toward forging equitable legal frameworks for arms control negotiations. Destructive anti-satellite missile testing in orbit is something that the US and the EU want to be prohibited from doing. The EU says it is concerned that the use of these anti-satellite weapons could cause serious and irreparable harm to the space environment, which is why they support the ban. They want to prevent harm to outer space. The US, under President Joe Biden's administration, is actively promoting this ban. To understand why this is happening, it is important to understand that it is. The US is advocating for restrictions on some space activities, such as testing anti-satellite missiles, out of concern that it may lose its competitive edge to China. The US is enlisting coalitions like the EA, as well as acting unilaterally to promote its cause. The US is determined to maintain its position as a frontrunner, even if it means attempting to curb China's rise in certain arenas, such as space. For China, the challenge is not only to continue its rise, but also to navigate the obstacles and limitations set by those who want to ensure they don't overtake the current leader, but China is fending them off. The pursuit of supremacy continues. It's a race for the stars that goes beyond economic and technological rivalry, where victory requires both innovation and influence on a cosmic scale. Because they have conducted similar weapons tests themselves and are aware that the US proposal does not restrict us military actions in space, China and Russia, both permanent members of the UN Security Council, oppose the ban. They do so because they believe that the US is using this proposal to increase its military power by restricting others. China claims that the US is using this proposal to restrict China's expanding military presence in space. China believes that the US wants to increase its power in space by appearing to be promoting peace while actually enhancing their military capabilities and attempting to maintain their position. The US is attempting to control space by enacting regulations that hinder China and cause disputes. But what does China want, and can China force the US to accept its conditions in terms of space? In order to maintain peace in space, China believes that a legally binding agreement that forbids the use of force against space objects and all weapons in space would be a more effective solution. They want all parties involved to negotiate and agree to this so that the space won't be damaged in any way, and the countries can practice and hone their skills. In order to maintain peace in space, China believes that a legally binding agreement that forbids the use of force against space objects and all weapons in space would be a more effective solution. They want all parties involved to negotiate and agree on this so that the space won't be damaged in any way and the countries can practice to hone their skills. Even if the US had support from the EU, China now dominates space, making it impossible for the US to establish laws at this time. Due to China's increasing dominance throughout the world, the US is unable to make decisions on its own and will likely agree to China's terms sooner or later. China holds a share of the market, making it unlikely that the US can act independently. We would like to take this opportunity to thank everyone for their comments and viewpoints. Your wisdom never ceases to astound us. In light of the current tension surrounding space dominance, do you believe international cooperation is still possible to achieve productive and peaceful space exploration? What do you believe motivates countries to strive to be industry leaders? Please share your thoughts in the comment area below, and let us know how this ambition for domination affects global relations. If you want to see more videos like this one, about how phenomenally China is expanding its influence around the world, please like, share, and subscribe to the channel. Until the next video, please let us know whether you believe healthy competition between nations promotes progress or risks escalating tension. Keep reading.